We're approaching the end of the day, so thank you for having stayed, even if it's too late. We're a bit behind schedule, I understand from Holger, so it's good that I tell you that I have a number of questions that would fit nicely 30 minutes instead of 1 hour. So it depends on you whether you want to leave early or not. Then you may have or not questions. You can interrupt the discussion. We do not have slides. First of all, I'm Alessandro Bonara, heading the Target and Collateral Division at the ECB. And I am glad to moderate this panel today. I would like my colleagues here to introduce themselves. Alain, you've already introduced yourself, but please go ahead. Maybe they are newcomers.
Useful, like you already did this morning.
Project managers from BDF, Banque de France.
Nicola Reilly, I'm the project manager for T2S from Citi.
Very good.
I'm Francesco Vacirca from Banca d'Italia, and I work in the payment system department, and I work in the user testing subgroup, and also in the migration subgroup.
Perfectly fitting then the spirit of the panel.
I'm Fernando Gilardi. I'm head of client support and membership in Monte Titoli, and responsible for migration activities in Monte Titoli. I'm participating in the migration subgroup, DCB, and in the XMAP working group. So.
Very good.
My name is Paolo Pacei. I'm the test manager for T2S and head of project management in Monte Titoli, and I participate in the UTSG.
Very good, thank you. The purpose of this panel is more or less to hear from the participants here on this side how they are preparing for wave one. And I would like to ask, as I said, we do not have slides. I would like to ask the first question just to hear maybe from your side, starting from here on the left-hand side. How is your institution preparing for wave one? This is not a very innovative question, but maybe you can touch upon in your presentations also aspect on also how, from a legal perspective, you are approaching the discussions with your clients. Organizationally, have you changed something? Whatever you can share with your competitors, of course.
Of course. So let's say that, so the first question is how we are preparing. We are preparing, thank you.
And you are almost prepared.
And we are quite getting there, yes, I mean, I must admit. So let's say that, of course, preparation entails quite a number of things. As you said, one of it is organization. And in terms of organization, of course, T2S implies that we have to adapt our structure to, first of all, support possibly also new clients, most of them which I believe will be international. So we have in fact received as part of the DCP subscription, let's say, list, a number of new international clients that we will need to manage. So our support team is currently being reinforced, and in this support team there is the cooperation of all the different groups and souls of Monte Titoli, starting from the legal, of course, the client relationship part, the testing, the functional team are all supporting this new entity for.
What is the size of this team?
The size of this team is a bit, how can you say, cross-organization, so I cannot exactly estimate because people are called depending on need and depending on questions received. Okay, if you can say that all Monte Titoli is participating in that.
Very good.
Yes, almost all.
Almost.
And more. And more.
Almost all, and more.
So this is just one of the points that I can mention. So from the legal perspective, of course, we had to update our contracts by incorporating the provisions of the framework agreement, and the same were not just, let's say, taken inside our legal framework without having previously obtained a formal agreement from, of course, regulatory authorities, which have now validated our approach, and
signature on the contract is progressing well.
Is progressing, yes. We reviewed, and we finally obtained from the regulatory authority all the approvals for all the changes, the approvals for the changes, and this will be submitted to our clients for consideration and signature. And Another point which is very important now is due to the fact that T2S will work on an extended working day. Of course, the IT service management is being reinforced in order to cope with the 24-hour support, and not only IT service management but also operation will have to support it somehow. So these are the main areas which are currently being strengthened in our organization.
Forgive my ignorance, Monte Titoli was not doing overnight
support. Yes, but let's say that in Italy the overnight processes were mostly batch. Okay, so the overnight support was kind of reduced, and you can imagine that after a number of years, these were quite stable. So, overnight support was
T2S is a
reduced.
disruption. Have you had difficulties to source the overnight support? Because this is probably also a point that here at the ECB we may also start to be worried about.
Well, all in all, you have to consider that every new system has some stabilization. So,
I mean, in terms of
people is prepared to go through a period in which there will be kind of shaking a bit, but I mean everyone in Monte Titoli is prepared to start this.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Usually our current overnight cycle ends at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock?
Usually. That we say. So
we added
sometimes
in Italian it means usually. Very good. Now, seriously, if you finished your part now. We move on to Francesco and from the Banca d'Italia side.
Okay.
What would you like to share?
First of all, I mean, I would like just to remind the roles that an Eurosystem central banks can have in T2S, because as we said already in the presentation of Andreas this morning, there are different roles. The roles are the system entity, that means the bank of the bank that has to open the DCA account holder for the payment bank. And this is a new role that start with T2S, because the DCA are the account in T2S. Then there is the role of Target 2 system owner. As a system owner of Target 2, we have to connect the system and we have to provide liquidity from the RTGS to the DCA. Then we are also collateral manager. That means that we handle the application that handle guarantees for operation with the Eurosystem, for monetary policy operation, intraday credit, and for the new process of T2S auto-collateralization. And the fourth role is about the settlement agent. As other banks, we are a bank that invests for a reason that can be also about central banks, for instance, in case of security markets program, but also to invest our own funds. So we have these four roles, and Banca d'Italia, since migrate in the first window, in the first wave, or I should say, since Monte Titoli decided to migrate in the first wave, Banca d'Italia, as participating to Monte Titoli, has to migrate in the first wave. The same is for the Italian community. The Italian community just have to migrate in the first wave because Monte Titoli decided to start in the first wave.
Once again.
And so we will migrate all the four roles together in the first wave, so we have to be ready for June 2015. As far as the first two roles, as we saw from the presentation this afternoon, there is an harmonized framework, both for legal and organizational framework. Whereas for the last two roles, so for the collateral manager and the settlement agent, it's all is local. We have to migrate, we have to change our procedure. And that means two main things. One is we have to adapt the system for the T2S auto-collateralization process. And the second is to adapt our program for the adaptation of Monte Titoli to T2S. And the main issue, as the Italian banking community knows, is the fact that we are going to introduce the mandatory matching on the free of payment instruction. So these are the main issue, and we are standing with this. From a legal point of view, we are, as I said, everything is harmonized at European level. So We are following the groups that follow the harmonization of the target 2 condition, and that's it. And from organization point of view,
Here maybe we have to distinguish, because Banca d'Italia is a role in what we call a level 3, providing let's say the support and running the platform, and also from what we say a level 2. So
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't said before, but I'm talking about Banca d'Italia not as a service provider, not as a 3CB or 4CB, so as other central banks that just is owner of the system and user of the system, but not provider. So I'm just talking in the role of Banca d'Italia that has to migrate to T2S, not that provide T2S. So also from an organizational point of view, we don't have a lot of changes to do, because for the cash side, that means for the role related to cash, everything will go in the same division that handle with this kind of task, that is mainly the target to national service desk. So as we saw, the legal framework and operational framework is under the target 2 umbrella. And for the collateral new arrangement, we will move all the legal and operational stuff to the division that handle with already in place collateral application, that handle also the CCBM and this kind of application.
you didn't need to foresee increase in staff.
I mean, for sure now, in the moment in which we need to adapt the system, we need an extra effort. But maybe at a regime we will
decrease and return to normality.
Yes.
But in a word, Banca d'Italia is preparing as everybody else.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. Nicola, we hear that from the DCP side, the life is very easy. This is whatever we heard throughout the day.
I think if I refer to Dimitri's analogy earlier on about the car with no engine,
I have also an analogy. I thought about
we're the
it.
trailer connected to the car,
Yeah.
and trying to tie into all of the different CSDs. So obviously, Citi, as our intention was made very early on to become a DCP in all markets. And with that, we needed to connect into the 5 markets, wave 1, very early on, to have a look at their adaptation plans and make sure that we had the technical ability and solutions inbuilt in our systems to be able to connect, and to also consider the different markets specifics that are out there. Harmonization, I love. But we are there. I think we have...
Is harmonization working? Or?
Harmonization is open to communication that we have with the CSDs, I think. Okay. We have had some CSDs be really good in their adaptation plans. Monte Titoli have been very good in publicising their adaptation plans and giving us new versions on a regular basis.
Which one of the two? Both.
But there are markets obviously out there that we have some questions around, and that haven't been as willing to publicise their plans.
You still have difficulties.
There's still conversations that are going on.
Still going on.
There's still conversations that are going on, but we're confident that we have developed our systems to have the capability of the functions that are going to be introduced by T2S, the linkages, hold and release, the partialing. These are all available in other markets as we are today now. We're just aligning them and making sure that we have our clients' needs at the forefront, and that we can give them the offering that T2S is going to give.
Okay.
So, we're very much in an advanced stage of the development. We're probably 70% complete in our build for the T2S core functionalities in the in-house systems.
30% is in a 6 months
The 30% is probably in relation to the market specifics and the direction that we receive from the CSDs.
And as a DCP, usually you do not have a lot of interactions with the program office of the ECB, the T2S program office, or you do?
We do. We have got representation on all of the major working groups. So the NUGs, the XMAP, the OMGs,
the AG,
anything with a G at the end of it, we're part of. We're part of. So we regularly meet and have representation at those.
Very good. Thank you very much. If there are questions, I would like that you just raise your hand and then we will stop and then answer it on the fly. But let's see whether Alain, who has a specific role here as the provider of the so-called interim solution. What is this interim solution? And is interim really interim or?
Yes, it's really interim. The objective of this solution is to offer to the participants they would like to open DCA in their central bank, while the CSDs associated to this central bank is not in T2S,
yeah,
to offer the auto-collateralization solution in the meantime. If you like to have the definitions, this central bank behind the participant is so-called the home central bank. The home central bank provides the intraday credit to the participants. In order to put in place this solution, example for this participant who like to open DCA while the CSD is not in T2S, it means the participant would like to act with, for example, Monte Titoli in Wave 1, and Monte Titoli is associated to Banca d'Italia. And Banca d'Italia in this case is a correspondent central bank. And it is Banca d'Italia, we own the CMS account in order to receive the auto-collateralization movement. It is the main principle.
yes,
And both central banks are going to put together some procedure in order to make easier
the life.
the life
market.
of this application. Okay. It is the situation for the Wave 1. When, for example, in Wave 2, Banque de France and Euroclear France will be launched in the Wave 2, we will have the same situation, but for the participant would like to open DCA in the central bank, which have the participant, the CSD will launch in Wave 3. This central bank will be the home central bank, and for example, the Banque de France will be the correspondent central bank.
Exactly. Just a clarification, the interim solution is a solution based on an arrangement between national central banks called correspondent
Correct.
central bank that is well established. And the interim solution is lasting until the end of the last migration wave. Later on, it's something that we have not discussed. So this is just really interim for the moment.
Correct.
So this is not for the moment, it's interim. And it appears a bit complicated, but Banque de France is fully in control in acting as an interim solution provider for the Wave 1.
Yes, because in terms of process organization on our side, it's not going to change because we already have this kind of solution with this at the moment.
Exactly, for the mobilization of collateral
Yes.
Eurosystem
And
operations.
for all participants, it's the same.
Very
Completely transparent.
Anything else you would like to share with the audience about the status of preparation that you have not already covered from the previous presentation?
Or nothing to add except for the legal point, but we are the same way like Banca d'Italia.
So you all rely on the development of harmonized conditions, the Target 2 guidelines, which, as far as I recall, Sylvain, they're going to be finally rubber stamped by the end of this year. I understand that, but a rather stable draft was already shared with the market. If we move to another topic and we look more into testing, we heard that we have many phases, sub-phases, and I'm not so personally familiar with all of them, between pilot, user testing, certification, authorization, and maybe I would invite the participant to share some hints on what they're actually doing in each of these phases, if they wish. Who's going to start first? Here we did not agree who starts first. But ladies?
I don't mind. As a DCP, obviously again in the trailer, we don't get the opportunity to go into community testing until March. So we have to have a very robust UAT plan in place internally at Citi, and we do. We have one that we start our internal testing from September 1st this year. The technical build will be 100% complete by then. I'm reliably informed by our tech teams. But we needed to look at how we can leverage on what's happening outside of T2S.
Yes.
And to do that, we looked at NBB and the Ramsey GUI. So obviously we have all of the functionality going in dormant status into Ramses until they join the T2S in wave 2. But we will go live on December 1st, and to do that we are at the moment have completed our certificate testing with NBB and are internally testing the functionality that will be available at T2S currently through the NBB testing plan that we have in place.
NBB is National Bank of Belgium.
National Bank of Belgium. They're introducing a GUI that they didn't have prior to T2S, so that's the preparation they're doing. We have successfully connected with NBB via 20022. So we know that our translation tool connecting our clients from 15022 to 20022 has been built and works, and is functioning fine.
Sorry, I have a little curiosity here. I hear that the ISO 20022 is rather intense in terms of processing. Was it a smooth?
Well, we
on
went
your side?
through SGP. There was no manual input that we had, and that was on the back of.
But on the machines, you didn't hear about any need to size it.
We didn't receive much complaints from our tech team. They've had to understand. It must have been fine. To read it, it's not particularly nice to read, and I think you need to get your head around reading a message a certain way, when historically we've always had our tags in Swift. So for that, we were very happy with. There are some areas that we need to look at more, but we won't have that opportunity until, again, we go into our UAT testing. We expect that any bugs or any difficulties that we face in UAT will be completely cleared out by the time we get into community testing. We want this transition to be as seam-free for our clients. We don't expect our clients to either require much testing, or from conversations that they have had, they don't really want to do much testing.
You do it for them.
We do it for them. We do it for them. But we will give them the opportunity to join in after the business day testing, particularly for any of the clients, as I mentioned, that would like to open up a DCA and to benefit from the auto-collateralization.
Yes, thank you very much. So all under control.
All under control.
And I knew it. From this side, anything you wish to share?
Yes. Many things to
Good
share.
start.
One of the things that I tend to repeat when attending at the UTSG is the fact that T2S is mostly a project which is impacting the existing systems of CSDs. So for me, the next month will require a lot of energy to make sure that the changes to our existing system and the adaptations that we apply to our system to work with T2S will work seamlessly. And this is one stream of work. And the other stream, of course, is to verify that for example, during the acceptance, that T2S works as expected. But as I say, these two streams will coexist until the start of the community, if you want to be political, even during the community, if we want to be real, and we'll need to complete, of course, by our migration. This means that, of course, there is an awful lot to do on the CSD side, at least on Monte Titoli. So to do all of this, of course, we have to work very cautiously, and we have to have clear objectives for each testing phase, both internal and external. We have created an organization whereby we have described in a very detailed manner all our test cases, so that we can rely on outsourcing in order to run all our testing.
Outsourcing?
Outsourcing, yes.
Meaning what exactly, if I may ask? You have
You outsource your test to an external company.
to an external company.
So, but by detailing all the test cases, you are quite better. You reduce the risk that the outsourced company is not producing the results you expect from them, and they don't work effectively and efficiently. So this was one side. The other side, of course, of this, but parallel of what I just said, we had to create and put in place a number of test environments, which will, of course, support these parallel testing activities. A number of test environments.
5.
4.
4.
One less. We saved one. And so 4 test environments, which will cover the external testing and the internal testing as well. And so lots to do. And one of the things that will be key and that I pushed a lot on the T2S PO is that in order to manage efficiently the defect testing, which we know defect management, and the testing of the releases for after fixing every defect, what we need to get here is a clear and very precise traceability between the defects and the specifications that were released, so that we know exactly where to retest and what to retest. Because there is a clear duality between our understanding and our identification of the functionalities and the T2S functionality and the way that these will be expressed. So the risk is that once we receive a release note, we don't know exactly what to retest. And this is a risk that to me must be addressed very early.
You address this to the T2S PO, which is the ECB,
yes,
in a way. And Olga, you are aware of this.
And Olga gave immediate satisfaction to this request.
Okay, thank you very much. Alain, would you like to share some views here?
Yes, we can share some views. I already explained this morning, and we are going to be ready in order to test for the pilot as from next week. But especially for pilot and bilateral testing phase, we are going to organize our testing with the set of the wave 1 in order to test the wave 1 configuration, as explained of the interim solution. And the second step is to test the wave 2. And after that, for each wave, we will participate to all testing phase.
So you will do both testing, as wave 1 as a wave 2, as of next week?
Yeah, in the sequence.
Yes.
And for the other testing phase, we are going to participate with all the actors of the wave 1 and after the wave 2. And also during the multilateral, we would like to test the real configuration of our participants in order to verify before the community the system and the agreement between CSD and NCB will run properly.
Very good, excellent. Thank you. Then finally, Banca d'Italia.
We just connected to T2S in the past weeks. So we just tested the connection in the user to application mode and in the application to application mode. We are ready for the pilot testing that will start in the next week, and we will see if moving from the theory to the practice will confirm that our analysis was good about the functional.
How many test cases have you written? Are you prepared to execute?
I don't know the number.
From Monte Titoli, it's a curiosity that I forgot to ask you.
19,000.
Just to reassure you that the system is going to be very thoroughly tested. 19,000. 19000.
1930. Yes.
Paolo, when do you think you'll be able to share some of those test scenarios with the GCPs?
As soon as we complete the creation of the authorization test, which we announced will be ready by September.
Okay.
Thank you. Authorization will not be any number close to the 19,000.
I was wondering.
Just to reassure you.
Very good. Anything more from your side, Banca d'Italia? No?
Just maybe if I don't know if it's interesting to share, but
Sure. Anything interesting? I know what he's going to say.
since we are indirect participant, indirectly connected participant to T2S on the security side, we decided with Monte Titoli to start since the beginning of the pilot testing and the bilateral testing to start together. So that means that we will have since the beginning we will make only the use of functionality about central banks, and they will do only about CSD. You don't know, maybe you don't know, but it's foreseen that in the bilateral phase you can use mock entities. We will not
use
mock entities, so you can create fake CSD and fake NCB to interact. We choose to work together. In this way, we can have this kind of trilateral testing, we, Monte Titoli, and T2S, and we can have more time during the multilateral phase to test the interim solution, the cross CSD, cross NCB.
so in a way to further reduce the risks of
yes.
incompatibilities.
Yeah, also because we are not very familiar with the CSD issue. So in this way, we don't have to learn something that we will not use in the operational phase.
Thank you. I'm watching the audience to see whether there are any raising hands. We try to cover now, well, I try to help you having a view of inside the organization of each one of these guys here. Now we're going to move a bit to see how the clients of these guys, or how these guys are helping their clients. A view on this specific app. So if you have questions that you want to directly address now on the inside of the organization that he represented, feel free. Sylvain, just a moment. The mic is arriving. Thank you.
I would have a question to Nicola, because you know that the central banks, as central bank, we are making a lot of efforts to reach financial integration, harmonization, kind of single market. Same for the CSDs with the work which is being done in the harmonization for T2S. But sometimes there can be a big gap between the theory and the practice, or the theory and the reality. But precisely you have been confronted to this reality because you had to connect too many markets, too many CSDs, too many central banks in view of preparing for T2S. So would you say that, well, financial integration, we're almost there, or would you say that there's still a lot to be done?
Do we appear as one or a collection of many?
Very much so, a collection of many, I'm afraid to say. Yes, still. From various different scenarios and reasons why I say that, just even down to the communication styles of some of the NCBs or CSDs, the language being used, trying to interpret the adaptation plans and how they're fed through, even down to the governance and how we are being governed on our readiness and the surveys that come through and the type of questions that are asked. And why I asked the question also in the synchronization and the ticking the box process. In an ideal world, it would be great if the CSDs were communicating together and came up with one solution and one process, but I won't hold my breath on that. I live in hope.
Very good. So, a bit of disillusion, Sylvain, but any other questions? Yes, Marco.
Pironi, Banca Italia level 3 from this side. Would you like
service operator?
Service provider.
Yes, provider. No, sorry.
Together with the Bundesbank, Banque de France,
yeah.
Banco de España, of course. No, just a question. You are finishing now or approaching to set up also the infrastructure, the connectivity has been done. The colleagues here, the central banks, of course, not the colleague of Citibank. Could you share with the audience the experience that you made in set up the static data? Because that is one of the critical parts. We believe this will be one of the most difficult parts. Then, because you are going to, or you already did, which if you have some advice for the audience.
Ooh. I see that people behind Marco were smiling, saying, and now he put a difficult question for the audience.
So we have
for the panel. Sorry.
Okay, we have just connected in U2A mode to the platform.
And A2A as well.
And A2A as well, obviously, but we have just used for the purpose of setting up the static data, the U2A interface. We have found it quite fine, quite usable, and let me say the first impression was very good. And we have also set up some static data, pretty good. Complex cases also, as you said, because as an example, the setting up of the primary SMB for a central bank is not that easy, as you know, and also the management of privileges is not that easy. Is very flexible, but because it's very flexible, it is quite complex to manage. Indeed, we have reached what we had in mind, and now we are trying to check whether it's working when inputting the instructions. So next week, when we start the pilot testing, we will see if the static data setup is working correctly, properly. But
the first experience is rather positive, I take it.
Yes, it's positive.
Very positive.
I
also in terms of response time of the system here.
Let me say that the first we have got some problems in connecting, but once we have resolved the problems, then also the response time is good.
Satisfactory.
Satisfactory. Very satisfactory. Yes. Yes, obviously.
Yeah.
This is the first impression, and first impression of use. So not only we have used it. And so
good,
we will
thank
see.
you. Would the other be willing to share? Yes.
Yes. Well, for us it's easy. For the moment we are technically connected to T2S.
That means what exactly?
It means our infrastructure communicates with T2S in A2A and U2A mode. So, and today it's the first time we have saw for the first time the screen of T2S. So we are going to feed the static data today or tomorrow, but at the moment
I did not receive any emails, worrying emails from home today to say there is a big problem. No,
but it's possible to share with you. For our point of view, it will be difficult to be connected to T2S in order to, because we have some software version problems, some security problem, some infrastructure problem in order to solve before to be connected to T2S in A2A and U2A mode.
That's a common experience. We had to resolve some security, internal security problems, some versioning problems, and so on. So it's not that easy from the beginning. But once you have, at least we have resolved these problems, then. Now it seems that everything.
When the connection is established, first contact, it's okay.
You need to make some tuning.
Yeah.
And then once it's tuned, then it works properly.
We didn't have any problem in the connection, but we didn't start yet to insert static data. This is in the pilot we foresee to start, also because it's the main. Testing of the central bank.
Very good.
If it can help, it can help. We have already made some first testing of the DMT, data migration tool, which is a tool dedicated to CSD in order to and to central banks to upload the static data. So also this one is working.
Say it loud.
Yes.
You developed the tool here? No. from the 4CB. It's working. Let's move on in the interest of time, because I think that we're taking longer than what I expected. I would like to shift a moment, a bit the discussion now to the community of you as institutions, and to ask you to share some information on how you're helping your clients, your participants, to achieve the ultimate goal, to be successful as of the moment T2S goes live. And maybe we start from you.
As already been said this morning by Euroclear and Clearstream, we are doing quite the same activities, meaning organizing bilateral meeting with clients, organizing meetings dedicated to, as an example, testing immigration since more than 1 year ago. Once a month, more or less, we set up this. We have this kind of meetings. Then we have recently set up a meeting for our DCPs, so dedicated to DCPs. We have arranged webinaries in order to info sessions.
Do you have a feeling that the community is, your community is ready?
We have sent out 2 surveys so far, jointly with Bank of Italy, in order to see whether the community is ready. The community, I think, is quite ready and aware. Obviously, mainly the biggest one client, but also the small, medium, and small one. Even if the small one are, let me say, less impacted, because as ICPs will be by far less impacted by T2S. As I said by Nicola, the clients, we try to keep, let me say, clients.
Communications are open.
Yes. And anyway,
just to give the flavor of the complexity that your community is facing, do they plan to use what we call advanced features of T2S, like autocall?
Yes, sure. We currently use autocollateral in our settlement system, so we cannot have we will have still use autocollateral, and maybe some of the clients will use also client collateralization, and then also the other features, the T2S features that Nicola said before. So linking of instructions, let me say sub-balances, I don't know, earmarking for autocollateral, or earmarking, blocking, reservation. And
so the complete palette
yes,
of the services and the features.
Definitely. This is what we will make available to our clients.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
From the Banca d'Italia side, I was not aware that you're actually preparing common questionnaires. But
I mean, the Italian National User Group for T2S is chaired by Banca d'Italia, but Monte Titoli participate, and the main banks participate to it. And the National User Group is responsible for the monitoring of the migration status of the community. So for this reason, we are issuing, we already issued 2 surveys, and we are going to issue a new one in the next days, I don't know, in the next days. The survey is to understand from one side, which is the configuration that the banks are going to use in T2S. That means how many DCA, how many securities account, and also to understand which is the connectivity type of the connection that you want to have with T2S. And moreover, also to understand which is the status of their migration. And we sent this kind of questionnaire to all the Italian banks. And so we received only few of responses, not all of the 600, I don't know how many they are. And
you're going to follow up on this? On
yeah,
the
we are
ones?
going. We made a lot of bilateral telco to understand if they are not interested, if they don't understand. So now the situation is quite stable, but for sure for the smallest bank, at the beginning it wasn't a problem to understand what is T2S, if it's something for there or not. Now the status is that we have about 58 participants. The most of them will open a DCA account with Banca d'Italia, and few of them will not open. That means that we'll open with other central banks, or with they will use other client or third-party account. And we have, I think, 16 DCP on the cash side. 8 will just use user to application and application to application, 2 just application to application mode, and 6 in the user to application mode. And the other one will be connected in the indirect way using the value-added service of Target 2. And from the questionnaire, we understood that, especially from the cash side, there were some lack of awareness. So we are going to start a training program that probably the kickoff meeting for that will start in July, and we will foresee 3 sessions specific on the cash side, and exploiting also the trainer approach of the T2S user training program. So a lot of people, some people from Banca Italia participated to the program, and now we are going to explain to our community what we understood.
Excellent. Thank you. On my right-hand side.
From Citi's perspective, obviously, our community is our clients, our internal departments, and our counterparties. From the client side, we've been having open face-to-face conversations with most of the larger players since the beginning of the year. Our product team have been on a global tour, and the type of conversations that we're having and the packs that we're presenting to them is in relation to the functionality and the benefits that T2S will offer. Trying to talk them through any static data changes that will need to be made on their side, obviously limiting it to, you know, just the bare minimum from them, and we do the rest of the work for them.
This works so far.
It's working.
It's working.
It's working. You know, the client engagement that we have had and the interest that they have shown has been really, really, really good. They are leveraging on our experiences that we have as being a DCP, presumably looking to go towards a DCP connectivity later on in the day, and their conversations that we have had with them. But we're also talking through the value adds, the asset servicing only functionality that we can provide, the account operator model that we have, and retaining that side of the business with them. In a trade, say, to helping them become DCP later on down the line. We're holding a client event on the 3rd of July in London, where all of the client base have been invited to attend, and again we'll go through any updates that we've got from the markets in relation to Wave 1 and also to Wave 2, because we're looking obviously towards the next wave before we've gone into Wave 1. And then on the internal side, we are looking at training, partner testing, system testing, making sure that we're ready.
You have a feeling that your community is, for the little that they would have to do then, is...
Well, hopefully, yeah, they've nothing to do. It's going to be a seamless transition for them.
Very good. Alain?
Yes, on our side, that we, in terms of general information regarding T2S, we have a marketplace meeting, several the NUG and several market organizations. It's the global communication around T2S. Especially we organize ad hoc meeting with our community for various topics, cash management, auto collateralization, connectivity, and so on. We are also published a blueprint of the cash management in T2S in French and English version. Also, we have put in place a Q&A in order to answer to our participants, and we publish on the website the answer we have. And especially for the wave 1, we organize a specific meeting with the wave 1 participant. At the moment, we have once a meeting.
How many participants for wave 1?
Three participants for wave 1. And we try to have a regular meeting with them till the launch of the start of the community testing.
Your qualitative assessment of their preparedness is the green.
For the three participants, they are full aware.
Full green.
Full green. For the wave 2 participants, the big and the medium player are full aware about T2S, but for the small participants, we need to close monitor this kind of participant.
To enforce more communication.
Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned the Q&A from Banque de France. I take the opportunity also to recall that ourselves, that the ECB side is also soon publishing a Q&A type of document, which I guess will be visible in the T2S or T2 websites. Any raising hands? Last topic. It's about migration, which is definitely the moment of truth. And I would like to ask the participants here, how are you handling this step? We already shared some information, and do you foresee any specific support to your community during the weekend? Did you think about contingency plans? What if there is a problem before and after the point of no return? And this is what are you doing? What are you thinking?
As a responsible of the migration activities, I consider quite key the activity of the pre-migration activity, meaning the uploading in the system of the static data, because this is the starting point. If you input good data, then you obtain good results. So this is the first law of the information systems.
Murphy.
No, not Murphy. Information system.
Information system.
It's on the contrary, garbage in, garbage out. In this case, okay. I've put it in a positive way. So good things in, then good things, good results.
So you have something specifically in place to ensure that?
We will provide our clients, we will deliver to our clients a web-based application in order to manage static data for the purpose of the migration. And we call it a client migration platform. And so clients will be able to see, starting December this year, all their data, meaning accounts, parties, and all the configuration, message setup, and so on. All what is needed to be set up in T2S and in the legacy system, in our legacy system, obviously, connected to T2S, and we'll be able to manage it in view of the migration, the true migration.
It's called the client
migration platform.
Migration platform.
Yeah.
And what if, in terms of contingency plans, do you have any thoughts being developed?
The key point, in my opinion, as a migration responsible, is that the migration weekend should be a must go, meaning
must go.
Must go. You must go.
No way back.
No way back. In the sense that if you so we approach the migration weekend with the aim to win, to be successful, not to come back. And obviously, if we have discussed a lot in the migration subgroup, all the possibilities, all the hypotheses, and so on, but if we reach the no-return point, then it should be a must go.
Of course.
There is no way to come back. Otherwise, you have to. It's not a contingency. It's a completely new migration back to your, let me say, system, which is really unbelievable. Let me say so. I don't want to.
So there is no, after the point of no return, there is really no return.
It's a must. It's a must go. From my point of view, as I said, obviously there will be some contingency measure, because we cannot go without any contingency measure. But from a conceptual point of view, then you must think like this. So this is the approach should be the approach to the migration.
Are there discussions on setting at the right time the point of no return?
Yes, we had a lot of discussions.
This is still not
setting up and agreeing the point of no return. Obviously, this has
been agreed.
Yes, this is agreed. We have
agreed.
Just recently, during the last migration summit meeting, we have agreed that at least for wave one, the point of no return.
There is an agreement.
Obviously, this should be considered as a baseline on which to build and on which to make further considerations. But now we have the baseline, and we can build a strong.
I just have I hear also that there are discussions on trying to estimate the number of activities during the migration weekends, and whether the weekend is long enough for the migration.
For wave one, it's long enough.
For wave one is no problem.
For wave one is long enough, I think, and we have already planned. We have already some, let me say, contingency windows in order to tackle possible problems during the migration weekend. That's
very good.
Another point.
Thank you very much.
I agree. I think you've reached your point of no return, and there is no going back. But we need to make sure that the pre-migration work that we are doing and the testing is robust enough to make sure that we've captured everything. And that's where the collaboration with the CSDs really comes on board. You know, we need to get detailed test scenarios and scripts, and sooner rather than later, to make sure that we actually have got
this is still something that you need to.
No, you are right, and that's the reason why we have planned the so-called migration dress rehearsals. Plus 3 business day testing. Exactly. So if this is successful, obviously you must be successful in order to go to the migration, to enter the migration weekend. Then this is a good proxy of what we will expect to
during the weekend.
Yes.
And kind of logistical contingency, we'll obviously be making sure that the staff are in, that there's enough coverage, that we are informing our clients, that we have contact numbers and enough client service teams there to facilitate any questions that are happening. The pre-migration work in relation to the cancelling and reinstructing and anything that's over that weekend, we'll be working heavily with the CSDs in the weeks prior to that, and also advising the clients to take the common sense approach and to try and maintain and manage their own settlements as well over that weekend.
Very good. Thank you for sharing this.
No problem.
As I said, Sylvain, for the central banks, the migration is not a topic for us. But in terms of support, we are going to increase our support for the pre-migration, migration, also post-migration.
All right, and I guess from Banca d'Italia is nothing else to add. Very good. We're approaching the end. Any questions? It's your last opportunity.
Okay.
I would like now maybe to ask each of the participants if they want to share anything that they think is valuable for the audience out of your initiative. Please feel free to do so now. You have you said something to me before about Banca d'Italia being in wave 1.
Yes, I mean, in the target 2 migration, we were in the last migration window, and now we are in the first. This is a very challenging task, and I think at this moment we feel that we are ready, but we have to monitor and continue monitoring for all these phases.
Do you still sleep at night?
Yeah.
Yes, so
no problem.
With these words, I think we can conclude the panels, and because we're running a bit short of time, I simply would like to thank you for having remained for the full duration. And maybe I would just like to finish with an anecdote that we heard before, that there was this analogy between T2S being the engine of a car. I always see it differently. I think, I don't know the word in English, I think it is more, it's called Fernheizung. So you take the machines from each house that makes the heating out, they put it in a central power plant, and then this is connected to all the houses. The houses are the CSDs and the participants, the people. So it's a way to have a better setup, maybe more ecological, so cost efficient. Thank you very much. Don't run away, because Holger wants to conclude the session. So please remain seated.
Well, I have to say, after this analogy, I'm not sure whether my closing remarks can actually top this. Yeah? Because actually, I wanted to come back to Dimitri's original picture with the car. Yeah. So, but we also have to see, as Paolo said, basically as the whole CSD is working on the project. So probably the CSD is the whole car. Yeah. And we also heard from Nicola that somehow the clients are the trailer behind. We also heard that we have different clients, yeah? So probably some light and some heavy trailers. Some you really feel when you are going along, some that are just following and you don't really have additional effort. Of course, what we have to see is that changing the engine there while the car is somehow moving is not something that we do untrained. Yeah? And I think this is where we have to start from, that basically with the training framework that has been put in place, we are trying to, or we have tried, and we are in the process of basically educating everybody on what they have to do as part of this exercise to change the engine. We have our user testing phase, basically, where we do the test runs in a safe environment. Yeah? In the interoperability testing with a closed off-road, only one car going there, so there's no risk of having any collision between different cars. Yeah? Multilateral testing, then maybe we have it with 2 cars or with 3 cars, but still with some distance. Yeah? Community testing is then the first time with a trailer. Yeah? And also then we do, with the migration tests, some real rehearsals. Yeah? So this is not just going there, but really to see, can we do it? Do we have the tools provided from the van providers, basically, because they, in the end, provide us with the tools to get the old engine out, to get the new engine in. And yeah, we have to see. In the end, we need, as said by Sylvain and Dimitri, we need for the clients a certain minimum test to ensure that the trailer is secure enough behind the car. Yeah? Of course, right now, for many of those, we are relying on some questionnaires, more or less. We're asking them, are you safe? Yeah? Probably then during the community testing, we really have to see that they are properly fastened to their seats, yeah? And that they have read the security leaflets, as you know, from the plane. Yeah? And but I think also the most important one was coming from Fernando, to say we have to approach the whole thing with a positive mindset. Yeah? So if we somehow consider, this could go wrong, or this could go wrong, or here could something go wrong, then probably we will find something. Or by being so over cautious, we will then lose the time that we need at a later point in time. And therefore, I hope that everybody is approaching it. Does not say that we have to be or take unnecessary risks or whatever, unreasonable risks, but still, overall, we should have a positive mindset to say we went through all the testing phase, we went through all the migration tests, and when the day of the actual migration comes, then we should be positive to say, okay, we are confident that it can work. Yeah? And with this, a few practical things we learned as well. Yeah? So pay close attention to the technical aspects for the connectivity, have the right versions installed, check with your IT security that you actually have the right versions, that you can use them. And once this is sorted out, because this is probably a lot of obstacles, and that's why there was also the reasoning to start early. We heard it's running like a charm right now. Yeah? So we hope it remains like this and gets even better, and that the defects that Nacho mentioned get resolved relatively soon. And with this, I hope, and there I'm speaking also a bit on behalf of the whole team at the ECB that is working on the testing and migration work stream, and also on all the participants that participate to the UTSG and to the MSG. I hope we are doing a good work, and we are coming close to an end, and we deliver something that in the end will help us to manage this in a positive way. And yeah, I hope that then in 1 year from now, Jean-Michel gets his liquid, whatever it was. Yeah? But hopefully not only him or he, but we as well. That we all have something to celebrate, that the first migration to T2S then was a success. And of course, I hope then also that the following waves work in a similar way, that maybe then in 3 years from now, yeah, when wave 4 is through, we are then celebrating a last time on this occasion. Probably there are then other reasons later. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much to the panelists, to the presenters, also to the moderators of the panels. And I hope you all take something away from here. And yeah, have a safe trip home. Thank you for being here.